Alright, I just wrote a family member because it's been a long while. It's hard to write people sometimes when you have a lot of life situations that you have to tend to, and time, even sleep comes hard to find and everything like this. So apparently, I have to fill out a thing to appeal the dental stuff going on, where I had to have one tooth removed, and then the last wisdom tooth gone too, just to be sure there wasn't any increment of ever having to experience what I did already, you know. So there's a night right now where I can't get any lick of sleep whatsoever. That's for sure. There's reasons for that, but I don't really wish to explain to them or put, you know, parts of what I have to deal with in this life really out there or whatever. But I do have earplugs in. Um, I have to move a fridge tomorrow. Somebody was kind enough, somebody that my grandfather had known, um, to help replace a refrigerator. Yeah, so during this time of not being able to get any sleep, I was just figuring out how to write an appeal, you know. They had already done it. They'd already taken the tooth out. I keep harping back on the whole getting a tooth extracted thing, but the circumstance of being free of that constant pain. I mean, there's other pains that go on in life that you can't really seem to escape, I suppose. They'd kind of come in one form or another. You can take your finger and point your finger on it, on those sorts of things going on and everything. Sometimes they change shape or change form. Deep down, sometimes I wish more so to see some of the blessings in this life and everything like that. I like to be a realist, though, you know, time and time again. But it looks like one of those things where I'm going to push through entirely without any damn rest at all, and try to shake off any flack or critique against my soul or anything like that. But I say it's good practice to be able to write to whatever relatives that you have in your life that are left or anything like that. Sometimes people have a sorrow within and they're tired of having to say that they're sorry for not being able to reach outwards, you know, to other people that they may want to hear from you and at least know you're still there and everything. And to, know that they're cared about also. I have a situation where basically, like, the immediate part of what was supposed to be family in my life was more so a test of the willpower and a place to learn what to do with absolving trauma. So that's why it's always silly in this life about, kind of being a walking, talking, living scapegoat or alibi, but I can go into that at some sort of future point about having to shake out of, what other people have tried to prove about you before you ever get a chance to, you know what I mean? Having to you don't want to spend so much time proving people wrong all the time because it takes so much energy to do so, but then when you just don't care what people think all the time also, whatever bad rep or whatever you end up developing gets to be mighty much of a muck, you know. And living as a free spirit, it's not really a totally sustainable or prosperous thing to do unless you really got that dialed in super good and everything. But this is just a strange life situation where I actually had that tooth extracted already, and now I have to do an appeal about that. After it seemed like it was already approved. So I'm just chasing away having to deal with papers coming in telling me that I owe something. Because just to be up to date again, I had pretty much several years of extreme nerve pain, wanted to keep the tooth, had the root canal started, and I was going to have to wait 2 months, which really meant 3 months, which really meant maybe even a whole half of a year, given that I had one dentist put me off month after month after month. They scheduled and then canceled, and then they would cancel even the day of sometime. And the receptionist was very, very rude. And it seems like some people don't have souls on this planet at this point. And that's me being a realist in a way that other people don't really always want to hear. But seeing the cruelty of human beings and then pursuing and pushing through by maintaining having a soul, that's a real wild line to walk, that's for sure. And it's almost 6 in the morning now, and there's a reason that I have a fan on that's very high. There's a reason I have earplugs in. I don't know what the reason is about my dad having been passed away, but there's some sort of reason that I was going to move up there and start a life up that way, and likely have a different living residence and a whole different life than what I have right now. And the things that I'm dealing with now, I don't want the world to touch of a sense to see, because I don't think I'd get any empathy or sympathy about it anyway. People would actually more like just be like, why are you sharing that with the world? You know? You have to fit a certain script to get a certain kind of empathy or to have anybody believe you for some of the things that you go through in life. And I wanted to have a small business. I have many books that I'd written and a lot of albums that I've done and all that kind of stuff. I'm not expecting to make a living off being a musician or anything, but I just thought that some good income and a feasible life of actually having some enjoyment and bringing enjoyment to others could have been fastened by having, a lot of my pursuits recognized rather than what it feels like most of this life. My pursuits being fought against by the world, and knowing that if I go to get any assessments done for, business type people, being able to help me out with getting loans to be able to sell apparel, do some of the designs that I do, to have books printed and everything like that. So, could you excuse me for 1 second? Because I live in a camper sometimes, but it gets pretty damn cold and I'm getting the heating figured out. I'm picking up a fridge for this person tomorrow who's screaming at me because alcoholic abuse is no excuse to think that a family can ever be close or tight-knit or anything. And I'm very much trying to get back to where I can live on my own and everything. I kind of do for the camper, but I have to keep myself up until noon today to get a fridge to replace a broken one here for the person who's screaming at me now, strangely enough, because they're very, 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 very inebriated and very bastardish, very cruel. They cause a lot of trauma, and whatever's left of the family isn't so much. I've given quite a bit of sum of payment to this person recently, but then they can just flip and take all their trauma out on you and all that kind of thing. So anyway, I'd rather make my characters, I'd rather not have to feel like life is hell every day of my life. A lot of new age people tell me to just trust it and just breathe it in and just do this and just do that. There's a lot of people that have siblings and everything like that there for them. And they have good friends that have their back, but I've been working with no safety net whatsoever. So, yeah. I have a mother who has a mental illness, so I get a lot of flack for whatever it is I do. I don't know. Maybe this necklace is this or that. I'm not Liberace, I promise. But, you know, you're not going to find sympathy or empathy from people in this world, really. But you still have to make it and keep your heart and keep your soul. So, I don't know how much of the world wants to experience all the stuff I do. I'm trying to break free of this, but I feel like my family members reliant on me, but then abuses me, and then I feel stuck in it also. So, just kind of wondering about a certain best friend I had at one point who I stuck my neck out for, and I'm trying not to become resentful and all that kind of thing, you know? It's a hell of a test, though, honestly, so. Anyway, what more is there to it? What do I really have to say? Sure, I'll find something entertaining and all that kind of thing. Entertaining content, making content seems like a distraction. I wish that I could live in a world where things were better, where civilization could gather together, create something for future's history to look at and be astonished by. For future's history to look at something that we made that was collectively remarkable, but it's almost like we live in an era where everything will be uncovered, and anything of these plastic petri dishes and strange novelty items that are dug up, they might actually assume and attribute to being sacral and spiritual or royal with a deeper reason. It's still possible the pathway of humanity could persist to such, but I have enough hard of a time for anyone taking me seriously about taking out a small business loan or living a life where I could actually be happy. It's strange enough, too, feeling like so many people are happy if you're not happy, or if that you become happy whatsoever, there'd be a giant falter for this whole world where it's this versus that versus that versus that, and this versus that versus that, and so on. Strangely enough, though, even if I don't get any rest before having to do what I need to today, you know, to supply a person a refrigerator and then have them snap on me, you know, I'm not the kind of person that, you know, GoFundMe's work for, or people believe immediately or anything like that. But if you live your own truth of proving somehow, and keep a sense of humor and also keep a dedication to try to at least be somebody that has a literary foundation or something like that, because language is very important. The language itself seems to like it's being, you know, blustered down and dumbed down very much. I don't know where to go from there. That's my little I'm up at night trying to fill out an appeal, you know, so an insurance company doesn't hatch some plan to make things even shittier. So